I hereby call this June 20th, 2018 meeting of the Albuquerque Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority to order. Commissioner Quezada is excused. Councilor Gibson is sitting in for Councilor Davis. And we will begin with the invocation and a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance led by Councilor Pena. Thank you all. Thanks for being here this evening. The first item of business is a motion to approve the May 23rd, 2018 minutes. Is there a second? Second. There's a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. All in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have some fun proclamations and awards for this evening. The first is a Partnership for Safe Water 2017 Distribution Center Operations Directors Award. Mr. Stomp.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm here to present this board with the Partnership for Safe Water 2017 Directors Award for Distribution System Operations. It's presented to very few utilities by the American Water Works Association, so to qualify for this award we have to do a lot of work, and it's about optimizing and utilizing our operations in the distribution system as best as we possibly can in terms of water quality and meeting our long-term goals to be a system leader. So this award's for you, and it's the Director's Award, and we want to thank you all for supporting and doing everything that we need to do to be part of this partnership and to be the best utility we can.
Thank you, Mr. Stomp, and we would like to thank all of you and all of the employees of the Water Authority for making this happen, so thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have the 2018 AWWA Exemplary Source Water Protection Award. Mr. Sheen.
Yeah,
good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'd like to present to you the American Water Works Association's Exemplary Source Water Protection Award that the Water Authority staff picked up last week at the annual conference of the American Water Works Association. We were recognized for our efforts for a couple of decades of our source water protection efforts in this community, both by Water Authority staff, but also City of Albuquerque, Bernalillo County staff that participate in programs that do what they can to protect our precious aquifer and surface water supplies. So I'd like to bring this back to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Sheen, and thanks to everyone again. This is good stuff that we're doing here, so thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
And now it is my real honor to give the Technical Customer Advisory Committee Appreciation Award. We would like to recognize Amy Ewing for her service on the Technical Customer Advisory Committee, having fulfilled 2 full terms. Ms. Ewing served as both chair and vice chair, providing her expertise and many hours of her time to help further the goals of the Water Authority and provide a direct conduit between the utility and those it serves. During her time on the committee, she was involved in reviewing several ordinances, studies, policies, and plans, including Water 2120, Water Conservation Plan Update, Water and Sewer Rate Evaluations. And thank you for being here, and thanks for all you've done to contribute to the Water Authority. I think we have an award for you, but would you like to say a couple words?
Oh, I'll just say thank you very much. I really enjoyed the 4 years that I spent on the TCAC. I'll miss it, and I learned a lot, and thank you very much.
Thank you. The Water Authority wouldn't be the same without the TCAC. You give us a great deal of support, and we appreciate every minute of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this is moving right along. We have public comment next. Mrs. Jenkins, how many do we have signed up?
We have two.
All right, each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak, and there'll be a warning at 2.5 minutes. If you would wrap up then, please. Would you please call the first speaker?
Elaine Hibbard, followed by Tadius Niemiecki.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Elaine Hibbard. I've come here for many years trying to offer some suggestive criticisms and advice. And that is my thought tonight. In terms of looking at tonight's agenda, I think there are several things that could support the idea that additional assistance for oversight would be beneficial to this board. One is the drought advisory. As you know, this board approved a new drought advisory a couple of months ago, and it has two criteria. One is the pumping, current pumping versus the goal, and the other is the GPCD versus the goal. The water report that will begin later tonight, as well as the earlier ones, give you the overall water usage versus last year's water usage, and it gives you the GPCD then based on that difference. That's not what the criteria is asking for. It's true that, as you can see, water use has increased slightly in the last 5 months over last year. But when you look at the groundwater comparative, here's the groundwater usage and here's the goal. It's 240 times what the goal is. And that's based on the water reports that are submitted every month to the state engineer and the annual operating plan. That's off the chart, pardon the pun, of the criteria, which only goes up to 140%, 240% is way up. Without that kind of information, the board is faced with a very difficult choice of how is it going to make the determination of whether to declare a drought. The response of the utility has been, so far, follow the water by numbers program, which is water like usual, 3 times a week for June, July, and August. The response of the MRGCD was to curtail water bank users. The difference is obviously that they're only limited to surface water, but we're in this together, and I think that the board should be taking more action than just normal. There are some other examples. One is in the idea that the development agreement is on the table. You are going to be looking at a new water supply charge later, probably in August. It seems to me that maybe a moratorium on looking at water supply. Oh, good. Water supply might be a good thing to do, is to, instead of going ahead and approving new subdivisions under the old setup, why not wait until the new water supply charge is adopted? Another one would be the customer opinion survey, and knowing something like the fact that overall happiness has gone down.
Thank you, Ms. Hibbard. Thank you very
So
much.
That's why I would make that.
Thank you for being here this
Continuing
evening. Yes,
suggestion.
ma'am. Thank you. The next speaker?
Tadius Niemiecki.
Thank you. My name is Ted Niemiecki. What I want to talk today about our rights, constitutional rights, Bill of Rights. How many of you ever read it? Constitution, United States Constitution, and Bill of Rights. Not doubt that many and how much. Now, why I want to talk about it? Our rights. Rights to live, rights to own, property own. Once you own something, for example, car, you get attached by bureaucrats will attach through the regulation, attach all different funds. So, same thing with property rights. Well, you try to build that, and then, let's say, 3 acres. Well, there is utility. No, you cannot have it, your own utilities. You have to get hooked up from the water utility and sewer utility, and et cetera, et cetera. Those are rights. Well, I'm sorry. Then, even further, once you own property, or most of the time, government all have rights, as we residents, property owners, we don't have hardly any rights to our land. That's all I want to, and also one more thing. Quality of water. I just noticed property where I'm at now, commercial property. It's about 3 years old asphalt paving. There are three-quarter of the inch gravel being used for the paving. Half of three-quarter rocks sticking out. Maybe we're wondering what's happened to this between the rocks, what's happened to this asphalt, tar, and so on. Yeah, all goes to the river, from the river back to our water supply, drinking water supply, and many other chemicals.
Thank you, Mr. Naminsky. That's our last speaker. Next on the agenda is the introduction or the first reading of legislation. Chris Cadena will make this presentation for us. Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is an introduction for a development agreement for a subdivision, a proposed subdivision entitled Anasazi Ridge Unit 3. It's located in the northwest part of the city, east of Universe, on the south side of McMahon. The project entails extensions of public water and public sewer to serve the development, and the development will be responsible for paying the applicable UECs and water supply charges.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Commissioners, do you have any questions? In that case, I move the consent agenda. There's a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is approvals. 018-6, amending the cross-connection prevention and control ordinance. Mr. Kelly. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. The Water Authority requests approval for the amendments to the cross-connection prevention and control ordinance. The amendments were presented in the first read during last month's board meeting. These amendments provide clarification on backflow preventer locations and allow a broader range of acceptable backflow device certification agencies, which will bring us into compliance with the Construction Industry Licensing Act. The ordinance also specifies specifically that all devices must now meet New Mexico Environment Department Drinking Water Bureau regulations. I'd stand for any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Commissioners, I'd move approval of 018-6. There's a second by CAO Nair. Motion and a second for 018-6. All in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. And the next item is C-1821, approval of First Amendment to settlement agreement between the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority, Rio Grande Silvery Minnow, and the City of Albuquerque. Mr. Stomp.
Madam Chair, as a way of background, in 2005, there was litigation on endangered species in the Middle Rio Grande. The city of Albuquerque and the Water Authority jointly settled with the environmental plaintiffs in that suit. And in that settlement, we said we would do certain things. 3 things we've already done. We set aside 30,000 acre-feet of space for environmental storage of water in Albuquerque. We set up the Living River Fund. As you know, people can donate in their water bills to purchase water rights for the river, and we also set aside some funding to start a pilot leasing program in the Middle Valley where we would pay for farmers to not irrigate in a particular year and use that water for environmental purposes. In setting up that funding, that pilot program has been taken over by the federal government, and so we want to use the funding that we have with the Wild Earth Guardians and other environmental plaintiffs to start a program of working on reservoir flexibility in the Middle Rio Grande. So they want to hire some staff and utilize some of our funding and their funding to be able to do that and start that process of working collaboratively to look at flexibilities in upstream reservoirs. And so we're asking your approval to amend the settlement agreement that would allow us to move those funds that we had set aside in 2005 for that purpose.
Thank you, Mr. Stomp. Are there any questions? Make a motion to approve C 1821. There's a motion and a second. All in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Stomp. The remaining business is OB 1810, which is a 2018 Customer Opinion Survey presentation by Brian Sanderoff. Good evening, Mr. Sanderoff.
Good evening, board members and Madam Chair. Thank you very much. Brian Sanderoff, it's nice to see you. We know, work with all of you over the decades, and pleased to be here tonight. Every 2 years, you conduct a citizen satisfaction, a customer satisfaction survey, and pretty much to look at basic customer satisfaction issues and the importance of various services that you offer. In this survey, which you should have in your packets as well as on the screens, we survey 500 customers randomly within your service area, residential customers, and then we also survey 100 commercial customers. We do it through getting your lists, matching them up, random sample cell phones and landlines. Part of our success over the years is that we continue to increase the proportion of our surveys that are cell phones. We have the technology now to reach people through cell phones. And as a result of that, we can make our samples more representative when it comes to race and ethnicity, age, income, education, and the like. And so this survey was in the field in January and February of this year and has a margin of error of plus or minus 4 percentage points on the residential component, which basically means, have we done the same survey 100 times, 95 out of 100 times, the results will fall within that plus or minus 4.4% margin of error. I think we have good news tonight for you. After the respondents rate services on lots of specific attributes, we then have one overall satisfaction question, where we say, overall, how would you rate the services provided by the Water Utility Authority? And here you can see the results for the residential component and also for the commercial component. What we ask is a scientific scale. Would you say that overall you are very satisfied, somewhat dissatisfied, or very dissatisfied with the services overall? And you can see on the residential, 94% are very or somewhat satisfied, 6% dissatisfied. On the commercial customers, it even goes higher than this. And so you might ask, well, how does this compare to recent studies? So if we look at the residential tracking data, we look at the results from 2014, 16, and 18. You can see very satisfied it's gone down 2 percentage points from the last study, but the somewhat satisfied's gone up 3 percentage points. So when you look at the very and the somewhat satisfied, we're not looking at statistically significant differences in the results. And you see the somewhat and very dissatisfied also have not moved much in the last few years. On the commercial side, this is on the commercial customers, the very satisfied 61, 62, 63 over the last 3 reports, and the somewhat satisfied has remained around 35%. So we're seeing similar results on holding overall satisfaction with residential and commercial customers. Your strong suit is reliability. When we ask customers, how satisfied are you? Very somewhat dissatisfied on various factors. One of them is reliability and availability of water to your home. And we found that 97% of your customers on the residential rate you very or somewhat satisfied on reliability and availability of water to your home. Also, when it comes to reliability of water discharge from the home to the sewer line, nearly everyone is satisfied. So there isn't much change on this from last time. Also, when it comes to the condition of the sewer lines based on observations and the condition of the water lines throughout the city based on the number of leaks that you observe, notice 69% satisfied, 17% very or somewhat dissatisfied. But to the right of that 69% number, anytime there's a statistically significant difference in the results, we report them from the prior study. When it came to condition of the water lines throughout the city based on the number of leaks you might have observed, 10% increase in satisfaction levels. In fact, on the condition issues and responsiveness issues, you've reached new highs on satisfaction when it comes to various operational activities. Also, on satisfaction, here again, you're seeing the satisfied, the very, and the somewhat, and the dissatisfied, the very, and the somewhat. Control of odors from sewer lines or treatment facilities, repair of leaks and response at restoration of service, and respond to overflows or backups, and response time for restoring service. Here you see again 77%, 71%, and 66% respectively are satisfied, and about single digits, 14, 9, and 8, are dissatisfied. But notice that there's been an improvement when you combine the very and the somewhat satisfied from the prior study, and so that's good news.
Mr. Sanderoff, just a second, please. Ms. Nair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wondering if we have any data on the geographic sort of dispersal of these survey respondents, especially with respect to this question.
We do within the report, and so we can get that to you. And we also break out the results by in-city or out-of-city, because of course the Water Authority provides some services beyond the city limits, and so we break out the results that way. And so we'll get that all to you. This for this presentation, we're sticking to, top level.
Thank you, Mr. Sanderoff.
Sure. When it comes to billing options, billing payment options, you can see, again, high satisfaction levels when it comes to the number of options, understanding the bill format and water usage on the graphs, and then the billing accuracy, high numbers, and you can see that on 2 of these attributes, the results have increased slightly from the prior study. Residential satisfaction with education and water issues and water conservation programs. So we asked people, how satisfied are you with the education on water issues? Here we see 67% very or somewhat satisfied, 13% dissatisfied, 20% don't know. When it comes to educating the public, especially as we heard from one of the speakers, we're in a drought situation. There's nothing more important than getting the word out the best you can. No matter how hard you try to get the word out, there's always going to be some people who say, I don't know, I haven't seen it. But that does create a challenge for you to find clever and different ways of communicating with the public through lots of different forms of media to get the word out on education on water issues. Here we see 20% who just didn't form an opinion because they didn't know how to answer that question on the education services. On water conservation programs, 66% satisfied, very and somewhat, 13% dis. So these are very similar numbers, with about 1/5 saying, I just don't know about those water conservation programs. And so there's much resources that you can put in to getting the word out about water conservation programs, about education on water issues, the better, the more effective you'll ultimately be. In the last, we asked your customers whether they've contacted the Water Authority about billing in the last 2 years. And we found that 16% said yes, and then we asked, how did you go about doing that, through the phone, in person, or email? And you can see the percentages there. Most people call on the phone when they have a problem with their billing. 27% said in person, and a few in email. But then among those who have contacted the customer service representatives when contacting the Water Authority, we asked how did that contact go? And we found 66%, so this is among a smaller cell size, just among those who have contacted the Water Utility Authority. 66% said excellent or good, 21% fair, 13% poor. So on the one hand, one can say the good news is these numbers haven't changed lately, but you know, you have 13% poor and very poor, you have 21% fair, and the next slide shows us a little more about specific attributes as they relate to customer service contact. When it comes to these people rating the courtesy of the customer service representative, we find that that's not a problem. 88% very or somewhat satisfied, 11% dissatisfied. Knowledge and ability to answer your questions or resolve your issues. Here, still not bad numbers, 74 to 26 satisfied and dissatisfied, but again, room for improvement there. The constant training of CSRs is such an important thing, getting them to be knowledgeable in every aspect or how to then transfer to people who might know the answer to those questions. Length of wait to speak to a customer service representative, again, 74% satisfied, 21% dissatisfied. In dysfunctional organizations, and sometimes we at Research and Polling do work for organizations that contact us when they know they have a problem, we sometimes see dissatisfaction levels of 50%. And you can think of organizations perhaps that you've called and received a lot of frustration trying to get through. So I'm trying to put this in perspective, but yet we still have 1 out of 4 people saying that the knowledge and ability to answer the questions and the length of wait time to speak to a customer service rep, you know, some people are dissatisfied. So this is something that I think that you can continue to work on. And I will say that it improved slightly from the last study, but I think more to be done. This question surprised me a little. We asked people to rate the quality of the drinking water in their home or their business. And by the way, on every slide in the bottom left-hand corner, there's something that says that the results were a little better, a little worse, or the same on the commercial customers. But I'm focusing here on the residential. And we said, how satisfied are you with the quality of drinking water? And 41% very satisfied, 30% somewhat, 25% somewhat dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. This was a little puzzling, and the numbers have dropped a little. Getting a little too indirectly to Ms. Nair's question on regional breakouts. Although I don't have the regional breakouts with me, I do remember specifically that the areas that were more likely to be dissatisfied were, not the areas, but the socio-economic variables were lower income people and people with lower educational attainment levels. They were more likely to be critical about the quality of their water. And the funny thing is, in survey research, typically holding all things equal, lower educational attainment, lower income people tend to be more generous. They tend to be more likely to say, oh, everything's great. So to have that group say that they're less satisfied was interesting. And we'll break that down into different regions and see if we can give you more insights on that. But the reason I focus on this is if we look at the next page, this is tracking the data. You're looking here at just the very and the somewhat satisfied. And so that 71% that you see for 2018, that's the same number you saw on the prior page. But here you can see the very and the somewhat satisfied for other years going back to 2006. And there's something about this year. So my recommendation to you on the next study is let's probe a little deeper on that question. Well, why do you feel that way about the quality of the water? Is it your perception that it has impurities in it? Is it the taste? And what about the taste? We used to ask questions about, do you drink filtered water and bottled water and the like, and we did see interesting information on that. A lot of people drink the bottled water because of just the convenience of it, but some people drink it because of perceptions of the water itself. So it might be interesting in future studies to dig a little deeper on this and see what it is about the quality of water that people perceive it not to be as satisfying as they would like it to be. We read 8 statements relating to perceived importance of water conservation and environmental issues within the Albuquerque area. And we asked people for each one, how important are these items? On a 5-point scale, 5 being very important and 1 being not important at all. And then we ranked them here by the percent that said very or somewhat important. So when you test 8 items, and you ask people, how important is providing a long-term water supply for future generations? That scores highest. People are committed to providing a long-term water supply for future generations. People are not short-sighted. They want you to do what you need to do for that. Also, investing in the repair and replacement of old water and sewer lines. I know you've embarked upon this activity. You threw this question in a number of years ago. And we're still finding that people are totally committed to the concept of investing in the repair and replacement of old water and sewer lines. 66% very important and 23% somewhat for the 80. But notice that one about providing a long-term water supply for future generations. It was 80% very important. Then the quality of treated water returned back to the river. 88% find that to be a very or somewhat priority for you. And then protecting and restoring upstream water sources or the watersheds. And those are the ones where over 60% rated it very important. You can look at all of them, and we don't need to go through all of them now. The bottom one was making water available to attract and keep high-tech industries that offer good-paying jobs. You know, the whole concept of using water for economic development. It scored less high than the others, but still 72% said it's an important consideration. On water conservation management, agree or disagree? The cost of water is an important factor for me when deciding how much water to use. We found that 78% of customers, residential, agree with that statement, very or somewhat, and 21% disagree. So what we're learning is that, you know, as the cost of water has increased over the years, more people are considering that cost when it comes to how much water they use. I know I do. And so many people are recognizing that I can cut my bill if I use less water. And so it's good that people are conscious, I think at least, of the cost and how it could affect their bill, and that could play a role in conservation. We also asked, agree, disagree, households would conserve more water if they had an easier way to monitor their water use. And so what was interesting about this question, again, households would conserve more water if they had an easy way to monitor their water use. 84% found this to be important. But notice that it went up 12 percentage points. Of all the questions in the survey, this is the one that had the biggest increase, that if a person has a way to monitor their water use, that could play a role in conservation. So I found that very interesting. Agree, disagree. Water and sewer services are a good value for the amount of money I pay. And believe me, I won't mention any companies, I'll mention an industry. If you ask a question like that about cable TV, you know, you get very different answers. And so here, when you ask value is, you know, what you get for what you pay. And here we find 77% of your customers saying, yeah, I strongly or somewhat agree, I'm getting a good value. 18% disagree, and 5% don't know. So we found this encouraging. Attitudes toward water rate increases, agree or disagree. Because water is a scarce resource, water rates should be designed to reflect the value of the water in our daily lives. Well, 75% agree with that, very or somewhat, 20% disagree. So when you phrase it as water rates should be designed to reflect the value of the water, by a large margin, people agree. But when you tweak the language a little and you say, water rates should be increased to cover the cost of providing reliable water supply for the future, you still have a majority. This is an aggressive question. You're saying they should be increased to cover the cost of providing reliable. So the gap changes, but still a majority say agree with it. And then water rates should be increased to cover the true cost to treat and deliver water to our homes. Again, those numbers are almost identical to the middle attribute, 57% agreeing and 40% disagreeing. So even when you ask the question aggressively, still you have a majority agreeing with it. You have an annual water quality report that I receive in the mail and you all receive in the mail. It's very comprehensive, nice product. We asked people, here you're looking at residential and commercial. So we asked how often do you read that annual water report that's mailed every spring. And 24% of residential and 20% of residential said, well, I read it most of the time or some of the time. So 44% residential say they read that annual report, 44% most or some of the time. And then 43% of your commercial customers say they read it most or some of the time. Those are not bad numbers. I mean, we all know we get things in the mail that we trash. Some things are more interesting than others. And these numbers are higher than typically what you see. If you ask questions on electric utility or gas utility on how often do you read the inserts, you know, you don't see numbers quite this high. Well, then we asked, well, would you be much more likely, somewhat less likely, or much less likely to read the water quality report if it was available online instead of being mailed? I guess you asked this question because mailing those things are probably very expensive. So what we found was, if we look at, you're looking at here residential and commercial. So for much more likely, 15%, for residential, 15% said much more likely. And for residential, 13% said somewhat more likely. So 28% of residential customers said they'll read it much or somewhat more likely if it was online instead of in the mail. But if you look at the somewhat and much less likely for the residential, 6% plus 16%, 22% said they'd be less likely to read it. What's happening is, just like newspapers, older people are more likely to read tabloids and things that they get in the mail. And so your older customers are much more likely to read your water quality report. They look forward to reading interesting things that come in the mail. But older folks are also less likely than to say they read things or online, although a ton of seniors do. And so you sort of have this situation where some of the people most likely to read it in print will be a little less likely to read it online. Ideally, it's easy for me to say as a consultant, offer both. Mail it to them and offer it online if possible, because what we found was the younger people were just so much more likely to say they'd read it, much more likely to read it online than getting a tabloid of it. So in summary, I think that your strengths are your reliability. What is your primary role? Your primary role is to deliver water and get the water then out of the house and have provided it available. And people rate you to the tune of in the high 90s percentile for that reliability. Your numbers are improving when it comes to responsiveness issues and condition of the water lines and sewer lines. Overall satisfaction remains high. And customers are truly committed to making an investment in providing a long-term water supply plan and investing in the infrastructure for the future. Issues, I think the quality of water thing, we had to pursue a little deeper, find out what people are thinking about their water and why. You've made some improvement in responsiveness of the customer service representatives, and I think there's more room to grow even further there. Any questions or comments about
Commissioners, any questions? Mr. Sanderoff, that was interesting. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Hocking giving us the water report. Good evening.
Hi, thank
don't have
you.
any-
I'm having a little trouble with the technology here.
I'm noticing you don't have any finger puppets, you don't have any water puppets, you don't have any...
I can do this without the slides, but, oh, look, Floyd is here and he's going to fix it for me. Okay, this will just take a little bit of scrolling, but we're going to be there. Ah, there we go. All right, so, Madam Chair, members of the board, what is shown on the graph in front of you is our water use data through June 10th. But as you know, we had a huge storm over the weekend, and so I've actually done some recalculating, and this has improved our water use numbers. As of June 19th, our water use was 156 million gallons, more than the same time period last year. You'll see on the graph in front of you, it was 268, and that one storm saved us about 100 million gallons of water. And that's pretty typical for what our residents can do when we get a good rainstorm. So that's about 3/4 of a gallon per person per day, and it's just a little bit less than where we were last month. The new precipitation forecast is not out, unfortunately, but as you can see on this map, they got the June precipitation correct. We've received 1.4 inches of rain this June, and that's a whole inch above our average water supply in the month of June. And we are using 65% surface water and 35% groundwater. Just for comparison, at the end of 2017, we were at 70% surface water and 30% groundwater. So it's a little bit different, and that's really not due to the drought, it's due to some maintenance that we were doing at the plant and on the transmission lines during the month of March. So at this time, I'm not recommending any additional water conservation measures due to the drought, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Ms. Uhas, thank you. Always informative. We appreciate your visits to us.
Thank you.
And I believe, seeing no other business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.